If I lost everything today and I had to make $1 million in less than a year, I would do everything in this video. So be sure to watch because I'm going to break down step by step how you can become a millionaire by the end of 2025. Let's go. If we haven't met before, my name is Eileen Wilder and I help people become millionaires using masterclasses. And in this channel, I show you exactly how you can do the same. So let's dive in. Step number 1, I would decide to go all in on selling a high ticket offer. Now, if you haven't heard about a high ticket offer, I had neither. Just 4 years ago, someone said these words to me, high ticket offer, and it's exactly what it sounds like, right? Even though my husband was Uber driving to support our family and we were transitioning after pastoring for 18 years, someone said to me, Eileen, you can package up your knowledge, package up your expertise into a high ticket offer. And I was like, what? That sounds amazing. And this coach told me it's better to do it that way than sell low ticket products. So if you're out there on the internet streets selling low ticket, let me pause and talk for a second about why it's in your best interest and your clients to charge high ticket. The very first reason is because people who pay attention. If they pay you more money, they're going to pay attention to your sauce, to your work. They're going to do the homework, show up on time with their pencils sharpened. Charging high ticket will then allow you to do the second step, which is you're going to be able to serve them at the highest level. So what does that mean for you? You're going to have more money to serve them at the highest level. You can charge other people to help support them, surround them. You can have coaches around you. You can have events. Think about all the cool things that you could do if you packaged up your expertise and charged more for it. And I'm going to show you exactly how in this video. But the very first step to deciding to become a millionaire is raise your prices. Decide to go high ticket. Why? Because you're going to hit your goal faster. The other really cool thing about charging high ticket is you're going to get a cash infusion in your business. So you'll have a lot of money to play with to buy virtual assistants, copywriters, marketers, all the fancy funnels you want to get. You're going to have way more money to build your business down. So start charging high ticket and then you can build the rest of the business with all that fun money. Let's go. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to say is you need to challenge your own mind here for a moment, because think about it, you'll never get to a destination unless you decide first, right? Have you ever gone to college? Let me know in the comments below how much you spent when you went to college. But think about, you never decided to go to college unless someone first told you about it, right? They first were like, hey, you need to go to college to become wealthy. How many of you ever heard that lie or bought into that stay broke mentality, right? That you have to go to college to get wealthy. But you never would have even thought about it if somebody hadn't told you that's what you should do. Now it's the same thing with becoming a millionaire. You won't become a millionaire unless you first decide you're going to be a millionaire. You know when you open up your phone and you punch in the location that you want to go to, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I want to go to Malibu, California. You decide the destination before you know the path. Are you with me? Someone type decide in the comments if you're going to make a quality decision today to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire. You need to first, come on somebody, decide. Type decide if that's you today. You need to make a decision. So isn't this refreshing thinking about it? Like you never would have gone to college if you hadn't first decided. You never would have gotten married if you hadn't first decided. You never would have approached that girl or approached that girl if you hadn't first decided. That's what you're going to do. And the minute you decide you're going to become a millionaire, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, guess where you're headed, my friends? That destination. Eileen, are you saying to me, Eileen, the only way I need to become a millionaire is I need to first decide? Well, I'm 100% telling you you're not going to become a millionaire or a multimillionaire unless you decide. Step 1, decide. My next encouragement there is decide to go high ticket. Why? You're going to get to the destination faster. Now, you may be saying, Eileen, well, what is high ticket? What do I need to charge? I want you to charge at least $5,000 or $10,000. Now, if you've been in the game and you're an entrepreneur, you've already got $1 million or multi-million-dollar business, high five, salute, I got you. Charge more. Most likely, you don't have a $30,000, $50,000, or $100,000 offer. And I know I'm talking the truth because I talk to a lot of fancy pants entrepreneurs all the time. They don't have a new offer. The offer you don't make, no one can take. So if you don't have that offer, decide that offer, or what's going to be in that offer, you can't move to the next step. So decide your price point. So you're going to decide, these are the decisions. I'm going to decide to become a millionaire. Come on, type decide in the comments if you're deciding to become a millionaire. You also want to decide to go high ticket, and then you want to decide your price point. Now for me, I printed out a piece of paper, an 8.5 by 11. I didn't print out the paper, guys. I just put the paper on my wall. I didn't print it out, let's be clear. And on the pieces of paper, I wanted different offers, different price points inside my business. And this may be what you decide to do. So I put a piece of paper on my wall and I wrote $5,000, like a 5,000. Then on the next paper, I wrote, I want to have an offer that's $10,000, 10,000. And then on another piece of paper, I wrote $20,000. Okay. Now I put these pieces of paper up in my little bedroom, my little apartment, while my husband was Uber driving. Why? Because I was deciding to become a millionaire. And so I was deciding to go high ticket, but you know what I didn't know? I'm deciding before I know the path, okay? I don't know what should be in these offers. I just know I want them in my business. Let me know if that's what you want too. You want to be able to charge these prices. So I put the pieces of paper up with the prices on so that I could start to brainwash myself into believing I had price programs and packages at these levels. Making sense? Then I would walk around my apartment and go about my errands. And I remember getting in my Honda Pilot SUV that my husband would drive Uber at night for. I would get in the Honda with my 3 kids. And while we were driving around going to the grocery store with no money, I remember, have you ever been to the grocery store and not knowing if you're gonna be able to pay for all the groceries? That was me. But I'd be opening my mind to ideas of what I could put inside those offers. And if I got an idea, I'd run home from my apartment and I'd write down the idea of what could go inside the offer. Is that making sense? So you want to decide your price points, and then I want to give you some ideas of what could go inside of these offers. Now, before we move on to the next step, may I invite you to make a decision to become a millionaire and a multimillionaire one more time. We're going to commit to the what? We're going to commit to the destination before we know the path. Let's go. Step 2 is we're going to name that offer. We're going to give it a name. We're going to give it a super sexy name, an irresistible offer name, so that when people hear the offer, they're going to want to buy it. You may be asking yourself the question, Eileen, well, how do I name it? So let's dive into exactly how you can name your offer. Now, have you ever bought something just because of the way it sounded or what it was describing just in the name? Oftentimes, offers will sell. Your high ticket offer, your mastermind, your coaching program is going to sell just because of the way you name it. Here's what you want to name it. You want to name it a big result, something your clients are going to get, something they will achieve, build. By the end of your program, they will get, boom, end result. People buy for one thing only, and that's because they want the result. Making sense? They don't want your process. They don't want your pieces. They don't want to know how many calls you have, PDFs they have to read, books they have to read. They don't want to know your cell phone number, your Voxer access. They don't want to know any of the details about what's inside the offer. Hear me now. They want the result. So when you name your offer the name of a result, immediately that's going to do what's called a dopamine drop in their mind, and they're going to want to buy it. Now you may be asking yourself the question, well, Eileen, where do I come up with this super cool result name? Well, the way we like to teach our students on this channel is you want to model what other names are working. Isn't this cool? There's so many beautiful places that you can draw inspiration. However, the best place you want to draw inspiration, I teach my students, is go find 3 offers that are already selling in your market and in your niche and go look at how they're naming it first. You would agree that success leaves clues, right? And if people are buying somebody else's offer in your market and it's named XYZ, good research, right, for you to model and draw inspiration from for your own. I want you to model but not copy. I want you to look at the inspiration and then put it in your own words. But notice they're calling it something that's a big payoff, a big result. So you want to name your offer something super sexy so that people say yes when you say it. It can't be a lot of words. It's going to be a short phrase, probably 3 to 4 words. It's going to be something like, here are some examples. Like mine is $1 million masterclass. I have $1 million workshop. I have a VIP day that teaches you how to do $1 million. Those are some of mine. Here are some others that work. 7x your energy. Big end result. Hormone hacking. big end result. There's a gentleman we survey as permanent fat loss, single, sexy, and sought after. These are relationship offers. Attract your man, magnetize your man, end result. So no matter what you're selling, doesn't have to be a wealth offer, a money offer, business offer. We all make excuses, right? That those are the offers that sell. When I have found, and I'm sure you have found, I have paid high ticket for lots of relationship offers, marriage offers, biohacking offers, health offers. Here's the takeaway. I always purchase and exchange money when I know someone can get me an end result. Now, what's so cool about this is as we move to step 3, you decide to go high ticket and you decide to name it something super sexy. Many times you can make purchases just by saying the name of what it is, because people are going to go, oh, that's what I've been looking for. Or, oh my gosh, I want that. So you got to be able to say it, but you got to be able to say it with as few words as possible, stating the result. Why? Because a confused mind never buys. So you don't want to confuse their mind and get all the dopamine all messed up by saying too many words. Are you with me? Let's move on to step 3 so that you can sell this high ticket offer. Step 3 is the coolest, right? Because you're like, how do I sell this thing? How do I make this offer? Now, this is so awesome because I'm going to teach you something that's going to save you 3 years and $300,000 figuring this out. You want to sell your high ticket offer to people one to many. So you want to present the offer to as many people as possible in some type of presentation, like some kind of class, some kind of live video, some kind of opportunity. Maybe you're on stage on podcasts. Maybe you are having a party at your house. It doesn't matter. You're going to make more money, right? If you don't sell it one-to-one on the phone, you're going to sell it one-to-many. You're going to make the presentation to as many people as possible so that you can increase your velocity. You can increase your cash. You can increase the amount of people you're going to close. Is that making a little bit of sense? Years ago, before I understood this, I was closing people on the phone, which was awesome and so cool, and I was making a ton of money, but it took a lot of time. Have you ever been on sales calls or run a sales team or managed a bunch of salespeople? It's a lot of work. You're using your number one most important asset, right? Which is time. Everything is a transaction in time. So if you're on the phone all day, big hugs. I know you're tired. So let me teach you how to sell one to many. You want to present that offer in front of a lot of people. Now you're like, Eileen, well, I don't know how to do that and I don't know what to say. I got you. There's more steps. So stick with me to the end of this video, right? Because I want to show you how to tell stories that will cause sales, okay? But you'd agree that if I can sell one to many or more than one people, did you know that you could do tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands, maybe even $1 million in a day? Eileen, what kind of sauce are you talking about? Sauce that I've done, sauce that my clients have done, and you can do this too. Because imagine with me for a moment, let's just imagine. Imagine you had a $30,000 offer. Can you imagine that with me? Give me a yes in the comments below if you want to play the imagination game. Remember when you were a little kid and you can just imagine it? Remember I used to dream I could fly. Like you could do so many cool things, right? In your dreams. And as a child, you were like, I'm literally a superhero. Okay, so right now we're gonna imagine you have a $30,000 offer. So this $30,000 offer is so cool, right? What would you put inside your $30,000 offer? Well, here are some really fantastic ideas that you can put inside your $30,000 offer. Put it in a really cool place, have a really cool experience you can bring people to and teach them something really, really cool. And if you don't know how to teach them something really cool, bring somebody who can teach them something really, really cool at this event. You could imagine charging $30,000 if you could get somebody a really great result really fast. Right? So if you imagine with me, you got this super cool $30,000 package. Maybe it's in the Bahamas and Warren Buffett's coming. Somebody really cool is coming and going to teach them a bunch of really cool stuff, right? You're like, okay, yeah, that would be $30,000. Yeah. That sounds great. I know. So imagine you got Warren Buffett coming in the Bahamas, 30K, let's go. How many sales would you need to make of that $30,000 package in order to make $1 million? Now, I already know the answer, but if you know the answer in the comments below, show off your math skills that they should have taught us in high school. They should have done this game, the imagination game, right? In your comments below, I'm sure many of you are writing right now, it's 34 sales. So can you imagine 34 people giving you $30,000? If you can't, I want to ask you to suspend all disbelief and imagine you did have belief and you're collecting now through wire $30,000 from 34 people. We can go pick your unbelief and doubt up later. We can go grab it later, out in just a few minutes, leave it by the door, right? 34 people just wired you 30K. How's that feel? Pretty cool, right? I know. And you're like, what? I know. That's how I felt when this happened. So 34 people hearing your offer can only really happen in one environment, in one context, and that's if you're selling one to many. In order to do that really quickly, if we want to increase our speed to the result, we need to do it quickly, right? So that's why in step 3, we want to sell one to many. We want to make that presentation to a lot of people at once. Now, really cool math statistic for you. We can typically close 20% of the room into the offer. So an easy math formula for you is take the number of sales that you want to make, in this case 34, and multiply it by 5. That will show you how many people need to be in the room for you to close the room at 20% and get your number, get your $1 million. Making sense? 34 times 5. I don't know that off the top of my head. 34 times 5, 50, 200? Is it 200? Let me know if that's correct in my quick math skills down below. But about 200 people in the room will get you 34 sales at $30,000. Congratulations, I just made you $1 million. Eileen, are you saying it's that simple? Well, I'm asking you, do you want it to be more complex? Steve Jobs says, simplicity scales, complexity fails. So I invite people to just do this simple move to become a millionaire. Create a high ticket offer, then you're gonna wanna decide like what's inside the offer, what the price point is, and then you want to sell one to many, okay? Let's move on to the next step, which is like, how do I present and communicate the offer to that room so that they say yes, so it sounds super sexy. All right, let's go to step 4. This is the irresistible invitation. This is what to say when you make your offer in front of this group that you're selling to one to many. Because how many of you want people to say yes, and they really want your offer and desire to buy your offer? And how can I buy it? This excitement, this enthusiasm. You don't want to push people away from the sale or sound sleazy or sound salesy. You know what I mean? So let me teach you how to sell without selling by using an invitation. Now, an invitation is different than a pitch because an invitation is very leaned out, meaning the energy is not needy. Needy energy will push them away, right? Have you ever been approached by a needy salesperson? One time I was at a timeshare presentation, and it might be one of the most traumatic memories I've ever had. So you don't want to need them to do anything. I like to teach people to be divorced from the outcome. Divorce yourself from the need for anybody to respond, like, enjoy the presentation, need to buy. You just be divorced from anything needing to happen. Here's what you want to be attached to or attached to happen. You want to be attached to over delivering and attached to service. Now, when you do this, you divorce yourself from needing the sale and needing them to buy. With that leaned out energy, you say, how many of you have been enjoying the presentation so far? It's been amazing, it's so cool. Tell me what you've enjoyed, tell me what you've loved, give me your takeaways, your ahas, I'd love to hear them. After they share those, you say, hey, is it all right if I share with you just for the next couple minutes a little bit about how we serve people? And of course, because you've given and served and over delivered so much, what do you think they're gonna say? They're gonna be like, yes, tell me more. And you're gonna be like, so cool. And then you'll say, this may not be for everybody, but this might be perfect for some of you. And now they know, okay, there's no pressure. No one, this man does not need me to do anything. This isn't going to be for everybody, but it might be for me. And then you go into your offer. You say, I serve people and I help them with this result. And then you're going to talk about that payoff, the result of the name of that offer that we discussed earlier. And because and if and when you've modeled it off of what's already converting, you're going to be using what the market has already said and declared it wants to buy. So you're gonna state your super sexy name of your offer, and then you're gonna say, if you'd like to dive deeper, I'm gonna tell you a little bit more once the presentation is finished. Then you can go teach some other cool content and then come back and present that offer with a little bit more detail. But now they're interested. They're like, oh, she's got something else. I like to tell people it's kind of like you're inviting them to your next party. Like, hey, have you been enjoying this so far? Do you want to keep it going? Would you like my help installing this into your life, into your business, into your health, into your regime habits? Would you like my help? So then you're gonna go dive deeper at the end of that masterclass into more of the details, and then you're gonna do a full invitation with the price reveal there, and that is where people will buy. They'll say to you, this happens all the time when you do it this way. Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing. That sounds incredible. I'm going to the Bahamas with Warren. Are you kidding me? This is amazing. And then simply what you're gonna do here in the invitation is you're going to collect a deposit, something to secure their seat, something that will ensure they're gonna come in. It's non-refundable. You're gonna say it's a non-refundable deposit. All you have to put toward the investment today is I encourage you to do something about $500 or $1,000 or $2,000 toward that investment. If you do this and you're cool and you're leaned out and you're not needy and your offer is good, people will say yes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fastest way to becoming a millionaire in the next year. By the end of 2025, if and when you'll do this, if you'll decide to create your offer to go all in on high ticket, decide you'll be that millionaire, that multi-millionaire, then step into naming your offer some super sexy payoff, super sexy result, then sell it one to many, and then do it with an irresistible invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how you will become a millionaire and a multimillionaire. If you believe it today, give me an amen in the comments. And if you want to dive deeper into some more resources that we have that will help you go faster toward your goal, be sure to click the link down in the description below. My team and I would love to serve you as you achieve your dream into your millionaire, multimillionaire, and maybe even billionaire goals. Let's go. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching.